Hey, Aftershock. Dale here, one of the youth leaders. Figured I'd take a shot at doing these little devotional things that Jordan kind of challenged the leaders to do. In kind of like my spare room here, I got the racing wheel and chair set up for some online racing. But right now, what we're going to do is we're actually going to jump right into Scripture. We're actually going to go Old Testament here. As a historian, that's why I studied in college. I really do like the Old Testament. I just think it's really cool. It's kind of fun. So we're just going to jump right in here. This is 2 Samuel chapter 24. We're going to go right from the beginning. After the anger of the Lord burned against Israel, and he incited David against them, saying, "Go and take a census of Israel and Judah." So the king said to Joab and the army commanders with him, "Go throughout the tribes of Israel, from Dan to Beersheba, and enroll the fighting men, so that I may know how many there are." But Joab replies to the king, "May the Lord your God multiply the troops 100 times over, and may the eyes of my lord the king see that. But why does my lord the king want to do such a thing?" The king's word, however, overrules Joab and the army commanders. So they left the presence of the king and enrolled the fighting men of Israel. So basically, David's just asking, take a census. I want to know how many soldiers I got. This doesn't seem like he's sinning. It doesn't seem like a direct sin. And if we know the story of David, he does worse things. But we're going to jump down here a little bit. We're going to go right down to, I'm going to skip 5, 6, and 7. We're going to jump down to 8. After they had gone through the entire land, they come back to Jerusalem at the end of the 9 months and 20 days. Joab reported the number of the fighting men to the king. There were 800,000 able-bodied men that could handle a sword in Israel, and in Judah, another 500,000. But David is conscience-stricken. After he had counted the fighting men, he says to the Lord, "I have sinned greatly in what I have done. Now, Lord, I beg you, take away the guilt of your servant. I have done a foolish thing." Well, it goes on, and God gives David 3 options for his punishment, and David has to pick one. But I think we should focus on the sin itself here. David really didn't seem like he did something wrong until you really got to dig deep into it. So when I look at it, I look at it this way. You have really 2 main figures in this story. You have God. God the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Then you got David. David is human. David is not the same throughout his entire life. He evolves. In the beginning, you have David, son of Jesse. David, the young man who visits the Israelite army, because his brothers are in it, to bring food. And he sees Goliath, this decorated warrior for the Philistines, across the battlefield, taunting God, taunting the Israelites. And David doesn't take too kindly to it, and he actually volunteers to fight the man. And we know the story. David goes and tells Saul, "I'm going to go fight this guy." Everybody's happy because they don't want to fight him. And they try to give him armor and a sword, and he says, "I don't need that. I've got God. I've got a sling. I'm going to go get some stones. Be right back, and we're gonna do this." And he does it. And with that stone and that sling, he takes down the greatest warrior the Philistines had, and sends the Philistine army packing. Like, that's just it. And that was David, son of Jesse. Now, a lot happens in David's life before he becomes king. And now that he's king, he's got everything. When he had nothing, when he just had that sling and a stone, he had God. He prayed to him. He thanked him. He threw all faith in God. Now he's king. Now he's got so much. Now he wants to know how many soldiers he has. David, the man who as a boy set the Philistine army out of Israel with a sling and a stone, wants to know how many soldiers he has. David has forgotten that it doesn't matter how many soldiers he's got when he's got God on his side. David is at a part in his life where he's trying to take glory for himself. Where David, when he was just the son of Jesse, was giving all glory to God. This is something I think we all do in our lives here. We when we're down and out, we love to just pray to God and ask Him, "Hey, I need your help here." But we're blessed with opportunities, and we take these opportunities and we work hard, and we see success. And when we see the success and we know how hard we worked, we love to pat ourselves on the back, beat our chest, and look at something. Look at a trophy. Look at a bank account and be like, "That's what I did. I did that." But we didn't do that when there wasn't there. When there was no money in that bank account, it wasn't my fault. And I got to ask God for help here. Just as now we should always be praising God for everything we have. This is just kind of a cool little section of the Bible. I really like it. It's not a really well-known story of David, because when you think of David, you think of Goliath. Maybe you think of, his deal with Bathsheba. Maybe you think of, his son Solomon, who does so much. But this is not one of his best moments. It's not one of the most straightforward moments in the Bible. And I did a lot of digging the last couple of weeks on this verse, on this section, on this chapter, on this book. And I really think this is something you can really take to heart, that maybe we do this so many times in our lives, where we just forget how we got where we got. So I hope everybody's out there staying safe. Try not to be too bored, and let's get through this and get back to church, back to youth group, and back to our lives. Right? Take care, guys.